Hello everybody and welcome back to Damage TV. I'd like to thank you for clicking on this video today, and I noticed that my average view time is about 1.5 to 2 minutes, so before you get to that 2-minute mark, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button before you go on to the other parts of the internet. Today I'm going to be covering my top 10 list of upcoming games for 2019 that I'm most hype about. Again, this list really isn't for everybody. This is just the things that I'm looking forward to. And most of these games are actually, all of these games are going to be coming out on Xbox, PS4, as well as PC, and are in no particular order as far as the release date or favoritism or anything like that. Most of these games are big enough that kind of require an entire video themselves. I'm just going to be glancing over some of the details of them and their launch dates, but we'll be making individual videos in the next couple weeks about most of these games. So look for those. I will, if you're watching this in the future, post links to that in the boxes and down in the comments to my other videos. Anyways, let's get right into it. First one that I'm going to be talking about is Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is pretty much playing on my newfound addiction to Sea of Thieves. They don't really have a launch date yet. I know it's supposed to be launching at the end of this year. That might get pushed back, so it might not be a 2019 launch, but I'm really hoping it is. It's being devved by Ubisoft, and it takes place in 1717, based around a conflict between the British Empire and other European rivals for the Caribbean. The game so far, for me, looks amazing. For me, it has everything that Sea of Thieves lacks: better ship customization, better handling ships for battles, although it looks very unrealistic on just how quickly it can turn. But I'm sure in the way that they're laying it out and the size of the maps that they have to do it this way. And it also has lots and lots of loot and upgrades for your ship. It really kind of does look like the looter pirate game that Sea of Thieves just isn't quite nailing, but I'm not sure if the PvP aspect of this game will really be taken advantage of. And there's something very satisfying in Sea of Thieves when you steal somebody's Athena chest or loot that they've been working on for hours to collect. I mean, it's a blast. But in this entire pirate genre, there's so many options of what you can do as far as the social spaces, PvP, PvE, PvPvE, everything like that. And I really hope Skull and Bones nails it. The thing I think it might lack is the PvP that SOT nails as far as the camaraderie that you have with your 3 other buddies manning one ship, having to repair the ship, manning the cannons, coordinating, boarding other ships, sinking other ships, dropping their anchors, things like that. So I'm hoping this is just going to be an addition to my pirate addiction that's just come around with Sea of Thieves. Either way, I'm going to be looking forward to it, and I'm going to be doing full coverage of this video as the year goes on and as we get more information about it. So that brings us to the next one on the list, and that is The Division 2. I loved The Division 1, but it has a severe lack of content on launch. It was a fresh take on the looter-shooter genre, which I was just coming out of Destiny 1, so that was really nice, and it did it very well. But where it lacked was its sheer scale of what you could do even after it was out for a year. The DZ was a joke, and the bugs and hacks were so rampant that it made it the entire PvP side of things unplayable unless you were hacking yourself. Now, it looks like most of that will change with D2, and really to nail this, they will really need to just make a better version of Division 1 with plenty to do, and fix some of the quirks with the loadouts that you had in D1, where you commonly saw everyone pretty much running the same setup, and if they weren't running it, it was only because they hadn't gotten it yet. Oh, and don't go nuts on the microtransactions, but that's just going to be an overlaying comment for all of the games that I'm going to be going over. So anyways, The Division looks visually amazing as always, and it will be launching on March 15th. I'll also be covering this for most of the year. Next up we have on the list is one that's been flying under the radar for most people, including myself. I've only seen a few videos on it, which is Far Cry New Dawn. New Dawn is launching in the middle of February for $40, which is a great price point, and I think it'll be a sneak hit, or it could be a massive failure, but I'm leaning more towards a hit. I really want to spend more time in this world and don't think they did enough with the last Far Cry. The thing with this game is it's completely different, where the Far Cry IP is getting long in the tooth and has severe lack of innovation. I, however, loved Far Cry 5's world, but it was very much a lot of the same old, same old. Clear your areas, liberate outposts, rinse and repeat. The big thing that holds past Far Cry's back is replayability. You're in a massive open world shooter, but once you clear everything, there isn't much to shoot, kind of defeating the purpose of the game. New Dawn changes all that. And this is why I think it's so underrated, and from what I can see, there's no hype around the game. Yes, it uses the same map and most of the assets from 5, but also adds new areas. The outposts have replayability in the form of different levels, and with that, loot. Precious loot to rank up and craft weapons. Crafting's never really been in Far Cry, so it's awesome to see. It's very much a survival crafting looter shooter, and really looks like what Fallout 76 should have or could have been if Bethesda didn't royally mess that up. There's a lot that can go wrong, but I'm really hype about this launch, and I think it's going to be 2019's most underrated, underhyped launches of the year. With that said, let's get on to the next one. Next I'm looking at is Trials Rising, that launches on February 26th. I can't tell you how many times and how many hours me and my roommates have played Trials while drinking a few beers. It's always been entertaining, and I'm looking forward to more nights lounging with my buddies, cracking beers, and beating each other's times on all new tracks. It is a great filler game when you really just want to have some fun with a little bit of competitiveness that can easily turn into hours of playing. So it's really nice to see another one of these coming. They can keep making these as long as I'm alive. I'll keep playing them. Next on the list is Rage 2, and this is going to be launching on May 14th. Who doesn't want to play in what looks to be a perfect iteration of a Mad Max movie in a game format? In a gaming industry that lacks innovation or is simply afraid to change, Rage 2 really stands out with its combat, vehicles, and types of opponents that you will be coming up against. It's taking place roughly 30 years after the first and really builds on the first one's success and looks fucking amazing, pardon my French, while doing so. Sure, there's bullet spongy bosses, and there is some drawbacks, but it does this well and brings plenty of advances to the series, with a few innovations in gameplay and car play, and I know that I will sink too many hours into playing Rage 2 once it launches in May. Next up on my list is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Don't crucify me if I got that wrong. I'm not huge on the whole samurai type genre of games, but this launches on March 22nd. From what I can tell, that might not be an exact date, but from everything that it looked like March 22nd. One thing about Sekiro is it looks absolutely amazing. It's really ridiculously amazing looking samurai type game where you can square off with other samurai while avoiding massive monsters. The thing that stands out for me is the environment, how beautiful it looks, and how combat works. It's not just button smashing, and it's not just an overly complex amount of combos, but really a dance between you and your opponent, countering, attacking, and dodging. It really has a unique way of defeating bosses in a world full of bullet sponges. It's really nice to see. Your skill and agility are very important in the different types of fights you will encounter in this game. Even if you die in this world, it looks so amazing, I wouldn't even care. This is for sure on my list, and this is probably going to be the first real samurai game that I've delved into, and I'm super looking forward to it. Next on my list, and probably on everybody's list, is Anthem. which should be launching in a few weeks if you're watching this when I upload it. I put in about 12 hours in the first Anthem VIP beta, then probably another 16 hours in the open beta. And I bashed EA after the VIP beta because of the glitches, the bugs, and network issues that were so prevalent in the game that for me, out of those first 12 hours, maybe 3 hours were actually of solid gameplay. It put a horrible taste in my mouth right off the bat. And like most other reviewers, I grabbed the pitchfork and took to YouTube. But with the open beta, most of those bugs were worked out, and I only got booted from the game once, maybe twice, in the 16 hours that I played. The difference in perspective when you're not running into game-breaking bugs and network issues is night and day. The gameplay is amazing, it looks amazing, and you're Iron Man. The depth of the customization is top tier. The gunplay for a third-person shooter is amazing. The movement in the third-person shooter is absolutely amazing. And it nails, for me so far, what a looter shooter should be, and will be taking over, because I haven't been playing Destiny for a long time, but will probably be filling that niche. However, EA is in a tough spot. They've had a run of bad games due to microtransactions and just screwing up. So this game could fail simply based on its in-game economy, which would be really sad, but EA is up against the ropes with the past debacles and need this to be successful. And if they pull the same predatory practices as before, this could push them from being a top tier and put them in a very tough financial position, as they don't really have many flagship games outside of their sports games. So they need to play it safe and make this a hit without robbing the players. Next up on my list is The Sinking City, and this launches in March 21st. The Sinking City looks absolutely crazy to me. It's an entirely new take on the open world genre and is a self-proclaimed action investigation game set in 1920s Oakmont, Massachusetts. The city's being inundated by a mysterious flood, and you as the protagonist have to go through and investigate why these mysterious events are happening. For me, as you can see from the list so far, this is very much outside of my normal, shooter action looter games that I'm used to playing, and I'm super excited to get into it. It just looks crazy. Some of the things, the water, the visuals, the girl with her mouth sewn shut, it just pushes a little weird and kind of crazy part of me that I really want to dive into this world and see what it's like. So that's going to be on my list, and I'll probably be covering this here and there. Next up on the list is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This could be a massive flop. Very much could be a hit or miss. It's being devved by the same company that devved the Titanfall series, Respawn Entertainment, which just had that hit, Apex Legends, that launched the other day, which I'm playing the crap out of. So maybe that's a good thing. But again, it's being devved by them. It's being very, very, very underhyped. They don't even have a trailer. They mentioned it at E3, like just a slight mention. And I really think that, EA and Respawn are making this game to fill contractual obligations with Disney. EA previously scrapped, and this one's going to be a linear Star Wars game. They previously scrapped another linear Star Wars game that I believe Visceral Games was making and developing, because they just didn't have a viable way to introduce microtransactions into the game. So Fallen Order is also a linear game, like I said, which leads me to believe that this is being developed with a very small budget because EA does not see it being a possible cash cow. On the other hand, there's no possible way for me to not look forward to a Star Wars game coming out. No matter how much of a train wreck it's going to be, hell, it'll still give me content to put up. I hope they kind of mess it up. Not really. I really want them to succeed with one of these friggin' Star Wars games. I loved Knights of the Old Republic, so hopefully, I'm praying, fingers crossed, that we get a good game out of this one. I'll be covering this probably weekly or monthly as news comes out from it. So that brings us to the #1 spot, and I'm not even positive if it's coming out this year, but that is Cyberpunk 2077. If you don't know, Cyberpunk is a RPG being developed as a new IP by CD Projekt Red, who are the creators of the Witcher series. It's an adaptation from the tabletop game Cyberpunk 2020 and is set 57 years later in Night City, California. It's an open-world RPG played in first person, where everything about your character is completely customizable. It's played out over 6 different districts, and the game looks ridiculous, and I can't wait to see what CD does with this IP over the years. This is something that I can tell you, I'm going to be playing this game for years and years and years, and this IP for years and years and years. It's in amazing hands. It's an amazing backstory. It's an amazing plot. I mean, they'd really have to royally screw this up for me not to be playing this for years. So, that wraps up my list of the games that I'm most hyped about for 2019. Let me know what you're most looking forward to for this year, as well as what you're kind of playing right now. I'm always wanting to try new games that might not, under normal times, be on my list. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and just caress your mouse on down there and give her a click, tap the screen, whatever you're looking on. It's definitely been proven to make you live longer. So, Damage TV, we'll be back next week.